027 track, S-scale American Flyer track. It's kind of ugly. Want to make it look prettier? Follow me along with this video. I'll show you how to make this track look absolutely wonderful. Wiring tips, laying tips, all that fun stuff. Welcome back to Classic Model Trains. I'm Ron. Today we're building a test track for my 027 and S scale. I haven't been able to work on any of it because I don't have any place to set it up. My cabin is completely full of HO stuff, so I built myself a little test strip here. I'll walk you through on the construction techniques, wiring techniques, how to solder drops and feeders onto the track. So stick around for about 20 minutes. We'll run you through it. Since this Lionel 027 track isn't very prototypical, and I don't have the kind of money to spend on true track, I'm going to take some scrap wood, I'm going to cut it up, and I'm going to make myself some wooden ties to place in between here. I took a measurement. These ties here seem to be 11/16 of an inch wide and 1/8 of an inch thick. So I'm going to saw until the cows come home and make myself up a bunch of railroad ties to put underneath here to make it look a little prettier. Now that I've got my railroad ties cut to 1/8 of an inch thick, I'm going to rip them down right here to 11/16 of an inch wide. So I'll have a long ribbon of railroad ties. So we'll set the saw up again, do some more cuts. Well, now that I got my ties cut to the width and the thickness, now we need to cut them to length. And it looks like the length of this here is 1 15/16, and I need a lot of them. So I set this jig up here so I can just push it through, saw it, push it through, saw it, and I can just manufacture these buggers. I had to end up putting this 3/4 inch piece of ply in behind here because the pieces kept blowing backwards because the fence is open real wide. These particular type of saws aren't really made for making these small, fine pieces of wood. Another thing, when you do your plunge cut, you have to let the saw slow down and stop before you lift it back up, or else the carbide teeth on here rip the things up and make a mess. So you go down, and then you let the saw stop before you lift it up. And if you think that's easy to remember, yeah, no, it ain't. So now that we got a clean cut, let the saw stop, 6 ties. And we just keep doing this over and over and over till you got as many ties as you want. So this is what I've ended up with. Looks like it takes 3 of these to go in between each actual tie that's on there. I put this paper down to try to make this stand out a little bit, but it didn't help much because, you know, browns. I've got this test platform of mine to be 12 feet long. Each one of these tracks is 9 inches. I can do myself a little math, figure out how many of these ties I'm going to need, and I think I'm going to go ahead and stain them. I'm going to paint them brown, but we're going to do a really fast bulk staining on them because we ain't got this kind of time. We can't be hand painting these. There's a lot of these little buggers going on. I'm going to attempt to stain these things. I've got some cheap apple barrel paint from Walmart. This is just called Chocolate Bar. And I've got some black. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some water in here, and then I'm going to carefully measure out some, mix all that up. I don't know, this is just an idea I've got. So it's not like it was well thought out or nothing. I'm just trying to find a bulk way to get these things to be a different color. Here's some black. We'll try this out. Need some dark on there. I'm planning on letting these things sit probably overnight, dry them out tomorrow, see what I've got. You know, maybe they'll absorb more color than this. I don't know. Like I said, just trying this. Just can't see myself hand painting that. So we'll pop in every now and then and see if these are getting any darker or not. Wait and see what happens. Back to my Landscaper 1200 right here. Nice quality spray bottle, 1 cup of water, 1 cup of acrylic latex paint from Walmart, the kind in the bigger bottle that you can get for $5. I'm just going to put down a base color of brown into a mist. I want a mist to come out of this. And it's going to be heavy, and I'm going to try to get all 3 of these colors put on before all the paint dries. So we're going to do a brown, we're going to do a couple different greens, and then I might come in and mist in black. This process goes quite fast, that's why I enjoy it. Now I'm coming in with a light green. I'm going to mist it from up high. Now we're going to mist in some darker colored green. Let me pick this up and give you a little tour of what's going on here. 2 different colors going down it now. Light green, dark green, kind of misted in. And we're going to go get some black now and do the final coat. So this is all still going on, all when everything is just completely wet. Now we're going to use our final and 4th color. Oh, I got my shirt right in it. Gosh darn it now. And this is the least amount of color we're going to put down. Here's a close-up of it with the 4th color on. The black, apparently I mixed it a little thick. I wonder if there we go, it looks better this way. So now everything is still really wet. A lot of water on there, you can see from the sheen of the board. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a clear water and I'm going to saturate it and it's going to blend all these together. Now I'm just going to spray it with clear water and this is going to help soften up all the big water drops that were on there. Blend it all together. And this area right here is a seam in the wood, like the center of the tree, so it was absorbing it quite a bit different. Here we got a neat pattern kind of going on up here, just because my board is running downhill a little bit. We're gonna let this dry now for, well, overnight, and we can start laying track. Well, I'll spray paint one of those fake road beds on it again. I don't really want to ballast it. This is gonna be moved around a lot. It'll probably be stored out in a shed, hot and cold. I think the ballast will probably crack out of it. Quick little update on staining these railroad ties. This has only been in here for a couple of hours, and with that little bit of black and brown paint, they are absorbing that color, I believe, quite nicely. I think I'll do black for the American Flyer S gauge because all of their metal ties are consistently black. Where Lionel, sometimes they'll have brown, sometimes they'll have silver, sometimes they'll have black, sometimes they'll have wood grain. Huh. They're creative down there. Just a real quick look at the ties. Oh man, I made a mess there. Thinned out black paint, latex paint, and just gonna let them sit in here overnight. Well, they've been soaking in the paint solution, the thinned out paint solution, for probably 8 hours now. So there's my black ties and my brown colored wood ties. So we're gonna let them dry overnight. So tomorrow, I can put them on the test track layout. Well, fellers, this is what it looks like after I've gotten done painting it. It's dried overnight. I do have to say that it came out a little different than I hoped for. Looks earthy, doesn't it? Raw, interesting. I did a little mock-up of what the Lionel is going to look like. And right over here is kind of a mock-up of what the S-gauge American Flyer is going to look like. I drew myself a couple of lines going down the board, and that's going to be the center line for my spray-on ballast here. I'm using some ultra matte perfect gray. I'm going to put it on just the width of the track to make it look like a road bed on there. Is it everything I ever hoped for? I think it'll look interesting when the track gets on it. See, I've got some track over here that I've successfully laid. So what I do is I test fit my track, and then I put under 3 ties here and 3 ties here. Then I get the distance, I eyeball it, get all the ties spaced out so I enjoy where the gaps are at. Then I back them off a little bit and I put a little tiny line right in the center of each tie on the road bed. So that way I know where they go. Then I get this out of the way again, get myself some of this yeller glue, and you put just a little bit under here, not a lot, because when it leaks out, it looks nasty. So I thinned out all my white glue for ballasting, and I don't have any white glue handy. So I had to use this stuff. Now we're going to slide this back in, We got to move this tie a little bit out of the way. Put it back in, then you go ahead and eyeball all your dimensions. Just for the third time, make sure they look nice and symmetrical. Ties are centered in. I'm using this here as a gauge. So my track is running nice and arrow straight. I'm really happy with it. Give the old nail a little thing like that. Get your nail set out here. Don't get too crazy with that though. You don't got to bend that metal tie. You just need to hold her down a little bit. I'm going to make my final adjustment here, and then we'll go ahead and finish nailing down the track. Let me get you in here. And then when you've been successfully putting it down, you give yourself a little eyeball. You like your track to be nice and straight. And this is what she's looking like right now. I'd have to say that looks pretty good for that cheapy Lionel track. I'm building these little stops for the end of the rails so we don't have a locomotive fall off the track. You know, that's always bad. So this is kind of what they're going to look like. Now this is the first one I was making, and of course I had to make a mistake on it. You can see the extra cut right here that was a little deep. But we're going to make some fresh ones so I can show you guys how to make a little stop like this. Of course it's completely out of scale and doesn't look right at all, but I want some meat because I don't want these locomotives to full throttle and break through them kind of skinny, and so that's why I'm making them a little bit more meatier. Good way to cut a large dado like this with a table saw. If you don't have a dado blade, set your height for the cut. You're going to run it through one way like this, and then you cut your other side like this, and then you back up your fence one saw blade, and you run it through again. Then back it up one saw blade width, and you run it through again. And then that'll give you a cut that looks like this. Now of course this is a little bit too tall compared to what I really want. So now that I got my dado cut, because you want a lot of meat hanging up here, I'm going to rip this down to 1.25 inches. I've already got my saw set, 1.25 inches. Then we come out with something that looks like this, which is pretty gosh darn, I'm almost there. Now all we got to do is we got to get this angle. This is a 60-degree angle. We're going to do that with a miter saw. Miter saw set at 60 degrees. Got a line right there of what I'd like to have it to be. So we get our blade lined up. Now since my saw is standing straight up and down, I managed to make this cut here perfectly straight. If you got a compound miter saw, and if you don't square up the blade to the table, then when you're cutting angles, you get this kind of runoff right there. That's why I get to make several of these, because, you gotta make a couple mistakes beforehand. So this is one of our little stops right here. I just need 3 more. 1x10 boards have a tendency to warp across this direction right here. So I decided I'd add some gussets going down the thing to keep the board from warping that direction. Plus it gives me a really good location to run my wires. I'll hold them up, so we are starting to wire it now. I'm going to run a bus and drops on it, and I'm going to put in quite a few of them because I want really good power. Here we got the bus wires ran underneath the test track right here. Terminates out at one end, and then I've got some wires. I color coded them all up to make them pretty, and then we terminated them with some spade terminals so that way I can easily connect them and disconnect them from the transformer, because I don't, this isn't permanent. This is just going to show up for whenever I'm testing 027 and S-gauge stuff. So now we are getting ready to put the drops in and solder them up to the bus bars. And I'll give you guys a little tour of an easy way to solder bus wires, drops up to the bus wires. We're going to put a drop in right here. I've already got my holes drilled, one on both sides. We're going to get a piece of wire. We're going to strip it off about 5/8 of an inch, like so. And this is 14 gauge, might be 16 gauge. It is a bit of an overkill. Then I want to tin the end of my wire. And my iron is turned up to 875 degrees because I don't want to be wasting a bunch of time trying to transfer heat. I want to get the job done. We just need just a little bit of tinning on there. Not a lot. So we're going to tin the wire up until she looks like that. Nice and pretty. Then we're going to take the wire, we're going to bend it at a 90, like this. Then we're going to grab it up. We're going to bend it at another 90, like this. So it's got two 90-degree bends to it. Now, the track itself's got to be clean, so we're going to clean the side of this and get any rust or scoobies that might be in there. We're going to get it out. We're going to use a little bit of paste flux down here on the bottom. We're going to get our iron in there, and we're going to tin this area also. Now, it doesn't take much. You can see there's just a little bit that's in there. And it's sticking. It's looking nice. 875 degrees, whatever I said earlier, really gets the job done. We put our drop in. The reason for those two bends is so that it hides inside the rails like this real nice. Now that everything's been tinned real good, we almost don't need to do hardly anything else. We'll give it just a little bit of a taste. And right there, that's soldered in there. Doesn't have a big blob. Normally you'd use probably thinner drops and a single wire instead of stranded. This is what I got laying around, so this is what I'm using today. Technique's the same. Smaller wire, of course, it'd be hidden smaller. This works well on this larger S gauge, but this wouldn't pass on HO. So use a single strand 20 gauge, 22 gauge, something like that for your drops. Now that all the drops are soldered in on the track, now we get to solder the drops into the bus wires. Here's this old Norwegian trick I learned from this German guy. If you get one of these cool little robo strips like this, you put your correct gauge wire in there and you can strip the insulation back like this. So you can see that I've done that right here. And then when you go to solder your bus wires, just wrap her around there like that and give her a solder job. Makes it kind of down fast and dirty, gets her done quick. Now I'm going to solder one of my drops over here. I'm going to solder the other one over here. This keeps the buses from shorting out and you don't have to put any tape on them. So it's kind of a faster little trick. Now normally guys are doing this upside down underneath their layout in the dark with a pair of readers on. Sore knees, back hurts, hungry. Probably wish they weren't there, but unfortunately it's got to be done. This is how I solder in drops. Well, after soldering for almost all day, now I've got all the drops wired onto the feeder. I'd like to take this time to thank my soldering iron for being so awesome. I'm telling you fellers, get rid of them junky ones. Put down 70, 100, 120 bucks on a soldering iron because you will never regret it. What I do regret is every time I go to build something, I got this mess like this I've got to clean up after the fact. So this job is almost completed, but now I've got to clean up and put all my dang tools away. Well, this is what the test track looks like there, fellers. Now that we've got it all put together, got my 027 and my S scale sitting on there and looking pretty. So I am quite happy with the way this has turned out. Got my stops put on the back so things won't disappear. Now, all that's left to do is to completely rebuild this ZW transformer right here. The very next video coming up, we're going to take this, disassemble it, rebuild the whole thing completely. Itemized lists and stuff like that. So this is a fantastic project. I'm excited to finally start to get working on these 027 and S scale stuff for classic model trains, getting these things running.